Well, within hours after John Edwards confessed to an extramarital affair on Friday, his wife Elizabeth had already written an online statement to supporters. Although John believes he should stand alone and take the consequences of his action now, she wrote, when the door closes behind him, he has his family waiting for him. And she's certainly not the first woman to make a very public choice to support a cheating husband. Here's ABC's Gigi Stone.
Aside from that,
from her brave public battle against cancer to her persona as a model working mom, Elizabeth Edwards has earned the admiration of millions. Now, in the wake of her husband's adultery, she's standing by her man despite the humiliation.
There's obviously a great love and devotion that she has or that they have for each other.
Many women feel nothing but sympathy.
The sense of betrayal must be just devastating.
I love her courageousness.
But some see sticking by a cheating husband as a sign of weakness.
Have a little backbone. I definitely would belt him in the jaw.
And yet the wives of politicians almost always seem to stand by their men. There was Silda supporting Governor Eliot Spitzer after he admitted to cavorting with a prostitute, and Suzanne supporting Senator Larry Craig after he allegedly solicited sex with a man in an airport bathroom. Hillary Clinton after her husband's affair with Jennifer Flowers.
I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette.
And again after the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
I decided that I was either going to have to forgive or we weren't going to have a marriage.
Of course, it's not just prominent women who find themselves faced with this difficult decision. Statistics show 13% of women and 22% of men have cheated on their spouse while married. And whether to stay or go is never an easy choice.
Women stay to maintain the family. It's a whole lot easier sometimes rather than have to explain to the child what's happened.
And perhaps that's why many of these women stand tall next to their spouses, put on pearls and a silk scarf, and try not to strangle him with it. For Good Morning America, Gigi Stone, ABC News, New York.
And joining us now is anthropologist Helen Fisher, who's spent the last 30 years studying the science behind human intimacy. Good morning to you. So start with this. For political spouses, there's often a little bit more, I think, to the equation because your husband or your wife, I guess, but usually husband is running for office or holding office. Isn't there also that political component that maybe you don't want to let go of the dream?
Sure, of course, and you've been working for that dream for years and years.
Right.
I mean, there's so much to a marriage. You know, there's so much more than just every couple that is married is working towards their dream. And they've got they've made all kinds of compromises. They've got all networks in the community. They've got children. They've got memories. They've got much more than just the adultery. I mean, I don't want to minimize it, but a marriage is built on many different kinds of compromises and goals, and those don't tend to change.
So you weren't surprised, particularly, I would imagine, when Elizabeth Edwards stood by John Edwards through all this?
No, not only that, but, you know, I mean, I study the brain, and there's an attachment system in the brain, and we are a creature that forms pair bonds, that forms attachments, and this brain circuitry for attachment is very strong, and in fact it doesn't stop pumping out its chemicals just because there's been a big problem in the relationship.
One of the things that you say that I think is so interesting, I mean, a lot of people react immediately and say, oh, it's so weak to stand by your man. What a weak thing to do. And you say no, not a sign of weakness.
Right. As a matter of fact, it can be a sign of tremendous power. I mean, your husband's just come in, or wife, with their tail between their legs. They're so sorry. You're suddenly often in a time of tremendous power to make all kinds of deals.
How can that be, though? Wait a minute. This is very counterintuitive. She has the power?
Sure. He says, please stay with me. I need you now. We need to build. We need to rebuild. Will you help me? And she can decide whether she does or doesn't. She can bargain with him and say, well, sure, I'll help you, but under these circumstances.
Can a marriage ever really be the same after infidelity?
I don't think
Whether
so.
it's political or just any of us.
I think you forgive, but I really don't think that you forget. And I think perhaps we're built to not forget. And so maybe it can make the marriage stronger. You know, some people are adulterous in order to get caught so that they can make the marriage stronger. There's many reasons for adultery.
You hear that sometimes, you know, you hear couples say that it actually helps strengthen their marriage. How does that work?
Well, because they've been talking about it. They've revealed so many things about themselves. They've aired all their grievances, and they'll begin to, you know, a woman will hold her resentments for many years, and then she'll suddenly say, well, I don't like it when you do this or that either. So can we make some changes here also?
Now
and
it's
man's
all
willing
out on
to
the
do it.
table.
Sure, and you're willing to talk about it. And everybody else is busy watching you. And so people need to, change their stripes.
And is there a gender difference here? Because we focus on women and women standing by their man.
Yeah.
Does it happen the other way around when a woman cheats? Does the man tend to stick by his woman?
The data show, and it may change as women become more economically powerful, but the data show that men are more likely to walk out faster than women are. That women are the ones, we're the custodians of the relationship. I mean, we're the ones that will really try hard to understand it, to talk it out, to bring it back to square one.
And the men are more likely to say, not
I think
worth
for
it.
Darwinian reasons. I mean, a man stands to be cuckolded and to raise a child that isn't his. And so he loses a great deal biologically by continuing on a relationship that he doesn't trust. Now, they both lose if they can't rebuild that trust, but men are more likely to walk out, yes.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Helen Fisher, thanks for being with us this morning.